Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you very much, Mr. Foster and Goss, for being here today. I have to say, last year this was one of my favorite hearings, and same thing is applied this year. A lot of fact-based conversation and testimony, and I thank you for your service to our President, to the Congress, and to the American people. First, I want to associate myself with the comments of some of my colleagues related to this trigger under the Medicare Modernization Act of 2003. Current law definitely indicates that when that 45% threshold is breached, meaning 45% of financing for Medicare is not any longer coming out of the dedicated Medicare funding stream and instead coming out of general revenues, then it's the President's duty under the law to provide some sort of corrective legislation. Did I fairly represent that from the expert here, Mr. Foster?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I also want to indicate that deadline is in fact today, 15 days after submission of the President's budget. So that would be February 28th, which is today, correct?
I'll assume your
okay.
calendar math is just fine.
Yeah. All right. Well, so that's disappointing to me that we need the President to lead on this area as much as any other area, with costs going up 6% per year, and the Part A program scheduled to go bankrupt by 2024. Moving on to Social Security, Mr. Goss, I read an article not too long ago. The Senate Majority Leader indicated that within a couple of decades, 20 years, he said he'd take a look at reforming this program. I know that other members of Congress have expressed that belief that they could wait until 2036 before any action would be necessary. Could you just indicate in this, I want to be fair here, I mean our ranking member earlier today indicated that we do need to embark upon reform in this area, make Social Security sustainable so that it's around for current and future generations. Could you indicate the cost of waiting, please? Just articulate what would happen if we waited until 2036 and its impact on all seniors, but also speak to specific cohorts, please.
First of all, really, we simply cannot wait until 2036, specifically because of the disability insurance program. We have to have something to address that issue in the much nearer term over the next 3 or 4 years. But looking at the Social Security OESI and DI programs on a combined basis, we literally, if we were to do nothing, we would hit this rather substantial and enormous problem in the year of 2036, as we now project it, where we would have this sudden 23% reduction in benefits, which I don't think anybody would be interested in doing. If we wait a substantial amount of time before we enact changes that can be graded in over some period of time, then we would clearly and severely limit the options that would be available at that time. I think many people have suggested if we were to wait literally until the last minute, it would be difficult to raise enough revenue instantly at that point, or to lower benefits instantly at that point in order to make the financing of Social Security work on an appropriate basis. So it would be a very dramatic and drastic situation to put ourselves into to wait that long. I personally would doubt that anybody has an interest in doing that, and appreciate both Chairman Ryan and Ranking Member Van Hollen both indicating a strong interest in getting to this sooner rather than later.
I appreciate that as well, and thank you so much for your comments, and I yield back.
Mr. Ribble.